Hey ink drinkers, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my first official last current next video. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me. Whether you're here for the first time or you have returned, I want to thank you for stopping by. It means the world to me. I want to start combining my wrap-ups with my possibilities videos because sometimes it feels like a bit too much. So I thought I'd do that with a little last current next video at the end / beginning of each month. This one is going to be quite quick because I have not read a ton lately, but what I have read I enjoyed, and I talked about this in some recent videos, so if you'd like to check out my more recent reading vlogs and things like that, go ahead and check them out. Let's dive into the last portion of this video. Last would be the books and movies I read and watched in the month of June. So I only finished 3 books in June, but I had a grand old time with them. Each of them came in at 5 whopping stars. So I'm really happy with what I read, and I look forward to reading some more this month. Because I put these books away on my shelves, I'm not going to pull them back down. It's too hot and sweaty. It's a very hot summer at the moment, and I'm going to do this as easily as possible. I hope you forgive me. But I will put some graphics up so you can see what the covers look like. I read the last 2 books I have on my shelves in the Sookie Stackhouse series, From Dead to Worse and Dead and Gone. These are books 8 and 9 in the series, and I need to locate the rest. I'll either buy them one at a time, or if I happen to come across the series in a thrift shop and I can get the rest of the books, there are 13 total, I'll do that. But as of right now, I'm just going to plan on buying one at a time. But I'm going to hold off on that because I'm trying to read everything on my shelves first. I have to be very budget-minded. We have a large family, so I do things a little differently than the average booktuber, but it's fine. I'm still reading, still enjoying the books I read, even if I'm not consuming as quickly or purchasing as many books as you might be used to seeing. Not that there's anything wrong with the way people do things. This is just how I do it, and I'm cool with it. From Dead to Worse was 303 pages, and Dead and Gone was 289 pages. The other book that I finished was Strange Weather, which is a collection of short stories / novellas from Joe Hill. I gave this collection 5 stars, and I'm shocked that there is a short story / novella collection that received 5 stars. Usually they get 3 or 4 stars from me, but I loved every single one of these. The lowest rating I gave was 4.5 stars, I believe, or 4. And every other story was either rounded up to 5 or had 5 stars. So I kind of just gave a blanket 5-star rating for the entire book because it was so good. Strange Weather was 432 pages. Collecting all the pages for each of the books that I finished in the month of June, we have 1,024 pages. That is a lot more than I expected to read, if I'm being honest, because it's just been a very busy life this summer. I thought that things were going to slow down for us a little bit because we are homeschoolers, and I thought I'm not going to have as much to do, as much to tackle each day. But no, we're busy with other things this time of year. So I'm very happy that I was able to get in over 1,000 pages in the month of June. On to the movies. I watched 5 movies in the month of June, which was more than I expected again. The first movie that I watched was D3 The Mighty Ducks with my kids. This came out in 1996. I will always be a Mighty Ducks fan. The third isn't my favorite in this franchise, series, whatever you want to call it. The first and second are pretty equal in my book, but I think the first will always have my heart. The second movie I finished was Frogman. This came out in 2023, and I talked about this in one of my vlogs. I really enjoyed it. It took me a minute to really fully immerse myself into this storyline and to embrace everything that was going on. But once I was hooked, and it was such a fun ride. The third movie I finished was the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Not much to say about that. The perfect summer horror watch. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. The fourth movie that I finished was The Lost Boys, another perfect summer watch. This came out in 1987. You get all the awesome 80s beachy vibes with a bunch of vampires thrown in and some great music as well. And the final movie that I finished was another new to me movie called Crawl. It came out in 2019. Barry Pepper was in it. So when I saw that, I was like, okay. I did not realize that when I first picked this for my TBR for summer spooks, but it was a pleasant surprise. This was a higher budget movie than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be a very low budget horror movie, but it was an excellent watch. I had such a good time with this. Did not expect to like it as much as I did. I had so many physical reactions to this. I was kicking my feet. I was talking back to the screen, just being quite the mess. Making quite the spectacle of myself. I watched it on my phone because my kids were in our room watching a movie on the TV. My husband was laying down kind of on his phone, getting ready to go to sleep when I was watching this, and everybody knew pretty much what was going on just by my reactions. But it was so much fun. So if I were to choose a favorite movie of the month, I'm not going to choose between the movies I had seen before because, like, they're old news. They're wonderful. They're amazing. But I want to choose between the two new to me movies. And the winner is Crawl. I loved this movie so much. I don't even care what the rating is on Letterboxd. I don't even know if I looked at the rating. I loved it. There was enough depth in there, enough backstory. The alligators were terrifying. I loved everything about it. And I don't care what anyone else says. That is a solid 5-star movie for me. I loved it. Moving on to the current segment of this video, I'm going to talk about what I'm currently reading. I am still reading The Burial Plot by Elizabeth McNeil. And I haven't gotten too far into it. I went a couple days. I don't know how many days, but I went days, plural, without reading. And so I need to catch up. But I am enjoying this. It's not as gripping as I thought it might be in the beginning. But again, I'm not far in, so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it will hook its claws into me or if I'm just going to forever love it because of the cover. We'll see. We shall see. The other book that I'm currently reading, I picked up and kind of set back down, and I'd like to pick it back up again because it's the perfect summer read. It is called Welcome to the Funhouse, a Carnival Horror Anthology, edited by Kelly Brocklehurst and Jamie Stewart. I think I read the first couple of stories in this and then set it aside for other things because I had other things happening with reading events and things like that. So I want to pick it back up and have this be my evening read because it's a lot easier for me to read on my Kindle in the evening. I've been enjoying it so far. I think it's still available. The indie publishing company that it was published through no longer exists as far as I know. I could be wrong, but I did see that it is available on Amazon as of right now. So if you want to check it out, it is still available. But this is something that came out in, I think, 2021, around there. So it's old news for some of you, but I really like what I've read so far, and I'm excited to see what else this has to bring. To me, carnivals scream summer. It's usually hot, it's usually sunny when you go to these things, unless you're going in the evening, and you know, outdoor concert season, things like that. It just screams summer to me. I don't know. So looking forward to finishing that as well. As far as how I'll deliver my thoughts on these books, this book I am reading for summer spooks. and I may not finish it in time, but I will be sure to put up a standalone review if I don't finish it for the vlog. And as far as the Welcome to the Funhouse book goes, I'm not sure how I'll deliver my thoughts for that one. Maybe I'll do a standalone review. Maybe you'll hear more about it when I do my next video. We shall see. All right, we are in the final segment of this video, the next section. And I spun my picker wheel to figure out what I'm going to read next. I decided to spin for 4 books that are on my shelves. I did not spin for anything that's on my Kindle. I like to keep it a little bit open. Sometimes I finish quite a few books a month. Sometimes I only finish 3. So I don't want to overwhelm myself. I wanted to make it fun and mysterious enough for me. It's so funny because 3 of these 4 books came from a friend who hit up a library sale and sent me a huge box of books years ago, quite a few years ago. And so I'm excited to finally dive into these and we'll see what I think. I mean, some of them are a little bit mysterious to me as far as whether I think I'll like them or not. I may or may not, and that's okay if I don't. It's just kind of like a little bit out of my comfort zone, a little out of the typical reads that I like to pick up. But like I said before, you never know how a book that is out of your wheelhouse will resonate with you. So I could absolutely love all of these books, or I could absolutely hate them. I could absolutely love the book that I purchased for myself within this list, or I could absolutely hate it. We shall see. That's the fun and joy of reading, right? You just never know. So the first book that I rolled was A Grandmother Begins the Story by Michelle Porter. Now this is a book that I purchased kind of in bulk. I say in bulk. I got like 6 books, maybe 6 or 8, I don't remember. From Book Outlet, they were all $5.99 each. I don't typically buy a lot of books at a time, but because the sale was so strong and I hadn't treated myself in a while, I felt like it was justified. I'm not explaining myself to you because I know everybody around here encourages people to buy new books. I'm more kind of justifying this to myself because I feel guilty for buying books, especially if I buy multiples at a time, especially if I don't get to reading them right away, which is what typically happens because I'm always behind in my reading. Anyway, this book, I'm really excited to read. Loved the cover. The cover is what drew me in. I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I typically like to read the synopsis, but I'd like to read some of the blurbs by people, publishing companies, whoever has read it and is promoting this book. I have read the synopsis before on this channel, so let's just mix things up a little bit. A grandmother begins the story, blows the doors off the typical family saga. Beautiful and daring. This is 2023 Atwood Gibson's Writers Trust Fiction Prize jury. Michelle Porter's storytelling pushes genre boundaries. I don't think I understood the term unputdownable until now. Ooh, Carly Baker, an award-winning author of Bad Endings and Last Woman. A searingly captivating debut. The tender, tough, funny, and heartbreaking voices of the characters will seep into readers' souls. Library Journal. This is making me super excited. Normally, I kind of ignore the blurbs and the opinions of others, but I'm really liking this. This is making it kind of intriguing for me, as if it wasn't already. And finally, we won't read them all, but finally, this book will leave you forever charmed and soul-spun. What a vision. Richard Van Camp, author of Godless but Loyal to Heaven and The Moon of Letting Go. So really excited to read this. The second book that I spun on my spinner wheel app is Death's Own Door by Andrew Taylor. Do I remember what this is about? No, I don't. Let's read just a tiny bit, just to give us a taste. When a widower with a distinguished war record is found dead in his summer house with a bottle of whiskey beside him, the verdict is suicide. But Inspector Richard Thornhill and his lover, reporter Jill Francis, approaching the case from different angles, soon realize there's far more to it than that. Ooh, interesting. So I feel like this is a thriller. I don't know anything about it. Crime fiction. Crime fiction. All right, cool. The third book that my picker wheel picked was Kiss of Evil by Richard Montanari. Again, don't know what it's about. Police officer Mike Ryan was murdered with his own gun. A beautiful suspect walked away free after tainting his reputation with allegations of greed and corruption, only to perish herself in a fiery apparent suicide. For 2 years, Cleveland homicide detective John Salvatore Paris has been struggling to clear his friend Ryan's once good name with no success. And now a rash of brutal slayings is rocking Paris's city, a plague of terror and ritual sacrifice, savage enough to shatter even the most street-hardened cop's faith in justice and a rational world. Each murder is different yet equally horrific, each victim and crime connected only by a strange symbol carved into their flesh. Okay. Yes, looking forward to that. See, now, like, I'm not huge on the covers. These are cool covers, don't get me wrong, but they're not the typical covers that draw me in. So I didn't know what to expect, but these both sound really, really good. And the final book that my picker wheel picked was The Boy by Tammy Hogue. Whoa, there's a lot on the back of this, and I do not have my glasses with me. It's very small, but we'll do our best. How about we just read the top? Read the top part. Words I can actually see without squinting. An unfathomable loss or an unthinkable crime. Dun, dun, dun. Now this one is longer. Let's see. Oh my. Now this one. Ooh, what's happening here? Glossary of Cajun French. This is going to be fun. Okay, but it is a long book, so I don't know that I'll finish it in July. We'll see. 603 pages. Oh, geez. Okay, so I might save that for last. We'll see. Looking forward to all of these. We'll see which books capture my heart. I do not have any plans for the movies I'd like to watch, but there is a slasher reading event coming up here on YouTube, so I might reserve my picks for that because I don't know that I'm going to include extra books in my TBR for the month of July for that event. We shall see. It's always up in the air, but I've got 6 books here, 5.5. I've read a little bit of 2 of these books, but I've got 6 books here to read, and I think that's plenty, especially for someone like me who's a slow reader. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to diving into these, and it's going to feel like kind of a different month for me with a little bit less horror and a little more like crime fiction and thrillers, you know, but I think it's going to be fun. I'd love to hear what you read and watched in June and what you plan on reading and watching in July. Are you participating in any reading events, read-alongs, buddy reads? Are you doing anything super exciting outside the house in July? I'd love to hear. Let me know. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.